Good day, Mutty Trader, and I need a shave. Much better. So I've just flown from freezing Greece back to South Africa. Very happy to be back, except one problem. It's still cold. What is going on? Is the weather bipolar? Has it decided not to be summer yet? So yes, I'm wearing a jersey at the moment. Hopefully things will turn up for Christmas as well as our Santa Claus rally that we are expecting. Let's look at the JSE stocks and see what is lining up. So I have my sticky notes. So let's start off with the Almi. I'm using Velocity Trader. I'm using Velocity Trader platform, as you can see, and we'll go through the charts one by one. Okay, so the Aussie has been on a strong uptrend since September 2021. It then broke to the downside. We can see there is a tiny little gap between this green and red candle, and now it looks like there's going to be a little bit of sideways motion. It's going to test the resistance, and then it's going to decide whether next year it's going to continue up or break to the downside. We don't know what's going to happen yet. Santa Claus rally, we normally expect upside to come, and then there's the January rally, which I'll explain in a later time. As you know, I use the RSI as a peripheral indicator to determine whether there is upside momentum or downside. So what we can draw is we can see that the RSI has been forming higher highs, right, and higher lows, but then it broke to the downside and it is almost replicating the Aussie. So right now, we don't know what is going on. The fact that it broke to the downside means that there can be some sideways motion in the future. Next we have is African Bank. Okay, so let's take the highs, bring it down, so you can see that it broke the downside, and now we can expect some bullish momentum, which means that we could be looking at some type of formation forming, maybe a cup and handle, and then we will get in. Anglo's been one of the stars of this year as usual. It's been treating the multi-trader system like a charm. You can see over here is forming a cup and handle formation, a big rounding bottom, a small rounding bottom. Once it breaks to the upside, we will get in and ride it double. So you take your fingers between the high and the low, you move it up, and you say target is going to be around 749 Rand. So that's looking good. I'm going to write it down. Aspen is moving sideways, but there could be an inverse cup and handle forming, which means that we can expect some downside to continue. So if we take the difference between the high and the low and we subtract it from the low, we should get around, I like using my fingers, 160 Rand as a target. So that's the thing about trading, is you mustn't force the trade if there are no trades that are sticking out like a sore thumb. Very important. Richmond, a trade I haven't taken in many years, and I can see why. It is just very low, I don't want to say liquidity, but very low volatility and no substantial movements. Now Clicks looks like it could be forming some type of cup and handle formation. It's got a long way to go, a couple of weeks, so I'm not going to write it down, but just something to keep in mind that Clicks is continuing to the upside. Mediclinic is moving sideways, nothing to see here, moving along. Mondi also moving sideways into this type of box formation. It's going to continue bouncing in this range until we get some type of catalyst. We have a few more stocks to look at. Mr. Price, also a stock that we're not in the money, but was so close to hitting its stop loss, as you can see over the last few days. Sometimes it's just luck that I put the stop loss where it is. I did put it above the last wick high to show that there wasn't much selling pressure going on. Luckily we held on, and hopefully it will break to the downside out of this rectangle formation so that it will be heading straight to our take profit. RSI is also not showing any definitive moves within the trend. However, we are seeing lower highs, as you can see, lower highs, and which means that the momentum of the RSI is continuing to the downside, and the same lows means that we are most likely to get a break. So we called this a descending triangle of the RSI. And if it breaks to the downside, we will most likely see the momentum continue down and hit our take profit. Momentum. MTN, I'm thinking ahead of myself, is a momentum stock. I can't do anything with it with the multi-trader system, but it is a beautiful stock. I mean, if you put some, for example, some moving averages, I'm going to get in at this price and hold as long as it stays above the green level. So the green level is the 50 moving average, but you always put a stop loss a little bit lower than the green level because the wicks do get people out of their stop losses. So there's a strategy for you if you want to use it. It definitely can work as a box formation with Nedbank because you can see it formed its first box, broke to the upside, formed its second box. The only problem that I have is that this is a long hold until it breaks to the upside and then hits the take profit. And the problem is we are paying interest daily costs, which add up and make our trade more expensive on a daily basis. And we don't want to hold for more than 5 to 7 weeks or else the costs do creep up on us. NPN, another stock that I'm not a fan of, and yet prop traders love it. They trade every cent. It's continuing to the downside. It broke out of the 200 moving average. There aren't any formations forming with the multi-trader system, but we can see that NPN could be coming down further. And if it breaks below 1998, we are talking quite a large movement back down to 500 Rand. It doesn't look like JSE stocks are favoring any type of movements at the moment. So next week or next month, I will be looking at commodities, cryptocurrencies, and next year we're going to be dealing with a lot of currencies. Forex trading is coming back. Very excited. I don't look at daily. I look at 4 hour when it comes to currencies. So just to prepare you for next year. Standard Bank, same, sideways, nothing to report on. ShopRite, momentum trading. So it looks like the JSE works very well for momentum traders. If we put a moving average, for example, the simple moving average 50, you can see every time it bounces or trades around it, then it continues to the upside and you would have banked a decent profit. However, remember, the interest daily costs do add up. So you do need it to move up at least 5% a month in order for it to be profitable. Sanlam, sideways, nothing to report on. Sasol has formed this M formation or double top. If it breaks below the downside, we can see the momentum to continue down. And also if it breaks the 200-day moving average, we will definitely short, as well as oil, which has been coming down over the last couple of months. We should be seeing a little bit of upside now that it's the Christmas rally, but we haven't seen it yet, which means people aren't as comfortable, buying presents for loved ones or friends and family, or they are actually just giving excuses that they are not going to go out for Christmas this year. And they're not buying for as many people as before because they're not seeing people because of the fear. So that's another thing to consider with retail. I can assume the same with Truworths. Truworths exactly the same, sideways, nothing spectacular at the moment, and broken the 200-day moving average. Vodacom, sideways, nothing to report on. This is good for range-bounded traders, where they find this box formation that they can create. So let's give this rectangle. Every time it hits the bottom, we buy. Every time it hits the top, we sell. And they keep doing that. It can be tricky. In hindsight, it looks easy. Because, for example, when it broke to the upside over here, you're now waiting for more sideways and a box formation to form in order to continue that type of trading. I don't do range-bounded trading. It's quite aggressive. There are a lot of losses to take into account, and also to backtest a range-bounded system is very difficult. I've tried it. Woolworths, another stock that we're in. We're out the money at the moment. We're hoping that there's going to be sideways movement and then there's going to be a catalyst to break to the upside. But retailers aren't looking good. We're going to be looking at mainly resources at the moment. So Anglo, and we have a pharmaceutical company, Aspen, which we're looking for is short. But remember, the JSE is not all we're limiting to. We trade commodities, cryptocurrencies, currencies, and indices as well as international stocks. But we're going to be doing those in future videos. Now you have an idea of where the JSE is heading, what the stocks are looking at the moment, and I hope it gave you some insight as to why I'm not being too aggressive on JSE stocks. So until next time, have an awesome Christmas, and we'll see each other very soon.